BASA is the embodiment of promoting the arts and artists, not through the normal channels, but through the means of developing partnerships. And that to me is BASA.
We're looking at funding, impact, research, reach, partnerships, programming, publications, as well as recognition and awards over the last 25 years.
We have some of the how, but a lot of those questions are still open-ended. We're thinking about the relevance of supporting grants. We're thinking about the relevance of membership and how best to work with those programs going forward.
It's the road less traveled. We've walked it with pride, with dignity, with humility, and with passion and compassion. Your time is now. So honored to be part of such a dynamic leadership team. The creatives, they give their heart and soul to everything they do. It is both in terms of the people around the boardroom, but the people doing the work on the ground and the energy they bring to the space and the lives they touch and the people they interface with.
I think because this year is so jam-packed, it's important for us to prioritize strategic and goal-oriented thinking, to maximize our resources and also highlight and strengthen programs that we're already working on, but also strengthen the brand.
For BASA's 25th, it's more a brand for us to be a little bit more interesting and mindful about what we do at this moment.
We're thinking about climate change, we're thinking about the environment, we're thinking about tech. Also wanting to become, I think Ashraf, you had used the word nexus, where all these conversations intersect.
It's a journey.
BASA, you're a beautiful soul, and all the people that came before us and contributed, and all the people that are currently contributing, thank you for everything that you've actually done. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the long hours that actually goes in trying to make a difference with the limited resources. So keep shining, keep doing what you're doing. That's how you make a meaningful and purposeful difference. Thank you, BASA. You are incredible, and I was blessed to be part of it as chair.
Hey friends! Welcome to the official curtain raiser for Business and Art South Africa's 25-year celebration. Advocating for the value of arts, culture and creativity in society goes hand in hand with engendering a broader understanding of the role the arts can play within the social economic framework. Since inception, BASA has lit fires beneath the notion of cross-sector partnerships. So, in curating BASA's 25th anniversary program, the aim was both to celebrate that past and also to work towards securing and shaping a better future. Right now, let me introduce debate diva Rorisang Thandekiso.
Hello everybody, my name is Rorisang Thandekiso. It is February 2022. Now, us here at BASA, that means 25 years of doing amazing work, championing beautiful collaborations between the creative space as well as the commercial space. I am so honored to be here with you today. And today is just about us coming together, reflecting, I think, right at the top, looking at the good work that's been done, the legacy that has been started here, and hopefully getting into a great conversation that I guess leads us to a point where we start to think about BASA in the next 25 years and what's in store for us, and all the great things that have happened and all the great things that are yet to still come. I'm excited to have an awesome conversation around the legacy of BASA and us celebrating 25 years. And to help me have this conversation today is the current chair. I'm speaking about Zingisa Motloba. Also joining us on the line is a former chair, Charmaine. She also joins us today, and of course, Deputy Chair Mandie Spuy. Maybe Mandie, let me start with you. Let's speak a little bit about BASA, your contribution, and how your relationship with BASA started. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I had the honor of serving on the BASA board for a full 12 years and only stepped down last year. Virtually overstayed my welcome, but that was at the request of our former chair, Charmaine. And the last 2 terms, I also served as deputy chair. So I've had a long history with BASA, literally from its early days, not in those years as a board member, but because of my direct involvement in the arts and corporate space as head of sponsorships for Standard Bank.
Incoming chair. So Zingisa, how are you?
So I joined the board about 3-4 years ago. I had interfaced with it, not knowing what it was and its role. Through the Jozi Arts Festival, which was actually started by a friend of mine and has been running, I think, for 10 years now. So I used to be a regular attendant at the Jozi Arts Festival and the Turbine Art Fair, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, right? So you know, it's been around you, but somehow we never looked behind what it was. And so it was exciting for me to be part of things that had fed my soul for so long, and to contribute to, in whatever way that I could, to taking that forward.
Charmaine, I'm going to bounce it off to you, particularly because you were steering this ship in probably the hardest season for artists, for the art and culture space, for the globe. COVID, you know, it hit, we were all unprepared, different sectors, and of course, you know, a sector or an industry that took a hard knock was that art and culture. There were no spaces for people to perform, to do the things that they love to do. What was that like, firstly, steering this ship in that time? And what were the learnings?
COVID was tough. And for me, COVID is a swear word. But in addition to being a servant leader, I'm also a fixer. I actually come alive in challenging situations. So I remember it like yesterday. Mandie, Ashraf and I get into the room to go, hey, this is challenging. People are suffering. What can we do to lighten the load and support them? Because you may know, and most people in BASA know, we do not give individual grants. Our grants are as a result of collaborative relationships between business and the creative sector. So we got into the room and go, people are suffering. We have the grant funding. What can we do to repurpose it? And that was the conversation, Mandie, Ashraf and I, and immediately we said, we're going to utilize it to be able to support lives. And Ashraf said, well, I'm going to implement and see how best we do it. Next day we had a plan, chatted to the board and informed them. And the whole goal, Rorisang, was how do we utilize our resources to make a difference, especially in the sector, because it's a gig economy and everything was shut down. So it's about just finding a way to make a difference. And the beauty of having done that, that's one small exercise that helped 170 people. Then we had local governments and national governments ask BASA, who does not disperse grants because of the effectiveness and the decisive action, to help disperse 50 million rand. So it's an action between a collective decision between Mandie, Ashraf and I, has actually created a bigger platform to be able to disperse funds that would not have otherwise happened. So I'm very proud of the fact that BASA just didn't go, we'll hold on to the funds until COVID is over, but made a plan to fix it. And I'm very grateful to the BASA team under this leadership of Ashraf, Savannah. She went to the IDC and got some funding, and we gave medical support for people that was in need of it. So we did things differently to genuinely make a difference. Could we have done more? Yes, but the resources are always limited. We can't help everybody, but we tried where we could. So that was, we tried to make a difference, and I think we have. It was tough, but during the tough time, the marketing team, the Hey Friend campaign actually served as online therapy. So it's about finding things that's going to actually help lighten the load and just elevate the feeling of hopelessness. So I think we did, the team did well. And thank you, Mandie, and everybody else.
I want to speak about the BASA Awards. Mandie, do they look like they used to look all those years ago? What has changed over the years with the BASA Awards?
Well, first of all, since inception, the annual BASA Awards have become a highlight on the cultural calendar, both for the arts, but even more importantly for business, as it is this recognition of the role of business in developing the arts that has such major impact. The key attraction, of course, has always been the selection of very innovative and diverse venues that are found each year. It's never held in the same venue. Casting my mind back to venues that really stood out in the earlier years, I think it was probably early 2000 or so. For instance, it was held at Park Station. Now, anybody would go, horror, Park Station.
Park Station, I'm horror now.
But it was held in the old Blue Room downstairs, which was a very swish restaurant in its day. Of course, it needed a lot of work and effort to turn it into a memorable space, but the overall impact of the venue was really significant, unforgettable, and guests came in their droves. Then, of course, something that is still mentioned by attendees, participants, recipients, the 20th anniversary not so long ago, which was held for the first time as an outdoor event and a daytime event in the beautiful surroundings of Nyrox Sculpture Park. And then also, let's not forget, we were talking about the pandemic that hit us the last 2 years. The pandemic forced BASA into a virtual space, inevitably. And last year's 2020 awards ceremony outshone any other virtual event. And I'm talking about events, not only BASA's events, but generally. Proof of just how adaptable the team can, in fact, be and still turn out exceptional events. So yes, the BASA Awards have become embedded in BASA and in the cultural domain in South Africa. I think one of the most important aspects, though, is apart from the actual event, it has been very encouraging to see the change in the diversity of entrants, where in earlier years it was pretty much the big corporates dominating the limelight, and now the focus has shifted, and in many instances, the smaller participants, business participants, have overtaken the heavy hitters, which is most encouraging.
Yeah, I think that speaks to a future. That right there tells you that there's still a lot in store for us. The minute you start seeing those kind of changes. So let me bring you in here a little bit. I almost want to speak about the sector and the creative space or the arts and culture space. Do you feel that BASA was necessary and continues to be necessary to stabilize this industry, to stabilize this sector? A sector, like I said a little bit earlier on, that often gets forgotten, overlooked. You know, Mandie mentioned a little bit earlier on, you know, it's flooded with different kinds of problems, financial problems being at the top of the list. But do you feel an organization like BASA is needed and is necessary as a voice, as a big brother or big sister for anybody who finds themselves within the arts and culture space?
Such an easy question to answer. It's a resounding yes.
Yeah. Tell me why. It. Why yes? Why this resounding yes?
Because BASA, I mean, and and Mandie's had history and she's spoken about the awards and things. They're so anchored in helping advocate social cohesion, demonstrating what artists could possibly do in everything that they touch. You know, if you look at the awards, if you look at the programs are aimed at providing a service to people that are in need to be able to commercialize their businesses. So BASA does meaningful work in impacting not just individuals, but the country as a whole. I mean, what are our 3 threats? Poverty, unemployment, and inequality, which has many faces. And I think BASA has done so, and moving forward has such a vital role to play to ensure artists, and Mandie made such a beautiful comment where she said, it's so beautiful to see the diversity of new entrants. It would be so beautiful to see a program in collaboration with organizations that forces their members, especially the big corporates, to utilize part of their spend for emerging artists and not just utilize big creative agencies, if that makes sense. And to be able to drive that, if you can get that right, what do? We play a vital role in getting emerging artists recognized, in getting them to build a CV, but more importantly, get an income. And I mean, that's our role, right? To showcase talent and give them the opportunity to get an income, and also just get them repeat work. That would be a project if we just throw into it. And it's possible. What we need to, every space has political agendas. The tool is listen to every stakeholder, because everybody has a view and opinion, remove yourself, and then go, what do I do to make this happen? And trust me, as soon as you give direction to the team, as Ashraf, Savannah, Tumi with the T, and Madeleine, they know how to run with it. Implementation is their strength.
Yeah, which is true. I think it's easy to say, we want to do good, we want to bring change, but when it comes to putting things into place, and I think BASA has definitely done well over the years. And I speak as a creative, that, you know, the many opportunities, you said repeat, and I almost wanted to put it in bold across the screen, because I think oftentimes
we can say it.
You know, that your artist, it's almost like you're great, but what's my repeat power, if I were to call it that? You know, can I build a business? Can I sustain myself? Can I make a living from what I love to do and what I'm good at doing? Zingisa, I want to bring you in here, maybe just forecasting to the future. Like I said earlier on, Mandie mentioned that, you know, your emerging artists are really struggling, and there's many different obstacles that they face outside of the financial constraints. What do you think are some of the big hindrances to maybe corporate or the commercial space of businesses recognizing or seeing the power that lies within arts and culture, and maybe even the difficulties and that the artists themselves face? What do you think outside of money? Because I think that's usually the conversation. We don't have money. We need money. Pay us our invoices. That's usually the fight. But there's got to be more, surely. And maybe moving forward in the next 25 years, how do we aim to look at those other sectors that maybe oftentimes are overlooked?
Sure, that's a big one. I mean, money is always going to be a problem, right? Particularly given our context. And as Charmaine says, if we have poverty, unemployment, and inequality, we'll never take money out of the conversation. And I think the challenge then becomes an issue of sustainability, right? Because you can't always be making the same plea request. You need to move forward and grow. And I think BASA has been doing a lot of work in trying to capacitate artists to see their businesses, not just creative, but as businesses, as contributing to the economy in some way or another. And in seeking sustainability, for me, it is, how do we then package the content, whether it be design, musical, visual, whatever, in a way that it attracts both seed funding. So we move away from CSI funding. to mainstream strategic funding? How do we get corporates to see the sector as a key collaborator in telling the South African and or African story? And we are producing a lot of multinationals in the banking sector, in the telecom space. We are not just South African based, and there's an opportunity in that to say, how do we identify as South African grown multinationals who have footprints in other parts of the world, to tell that identity, that story, through our CI, through our branding, through how our buildings appear, the aesthetic and design of our very offices, that when you walk in, you've got the artworks, you've got the furniture. I mean, there's so many spaces in which you can collaborate and start to use core strategic funding. But we need to get our artists in the space that they become appealing to the corporate mindset around that. And that's where BASA plays a collaborative role. And where government comes in, right, is to then create an enabling environment, supportive spaces, access to data, access to, particularly in the marginalized township areas, rural areas, access to education. And so we bring that collaboration together, those conversations. We may not be responsible for the execution of that, but those who are able to do must come together and find a way to see each other in a way that says, as a nation, we need to move away from pockets of prosperity in a sea of poverty and start to collaborate in a way that all of us are sustainable and grow together in the best way that we know how.
Yeah, sustainable, that's the key word. You know, we're not trying to just fix problems, we're trying to fix them, but let it be sustainable. You've been speaking about, and this is not part of our questions, this is me now throwing you guys into it. We've been speaking a lot about the legacy of BASA. And I think, Charmaine, you made reference to this, to the founder of BASA, and then you said, should be proud to see this room that we're in now, that even through everything that's happened, we're still here 25 years later, still keeping to the mandate, right? What legacy would you love to leave as an individual? Because I feel that you give, as individuals, so many emerging artists an opportunity. What do you want to be remembered for in this space as your individual contribution? Mandie, you've been here for years. Your contribution, when we think back of Mandie, BASA, what should come to our mind?
If I look at the incredible creative talent that we have in this country, where at times, as we've said earlier, the most challenging times that many artists have had to survive, not only because of the pandemic, many other reasons as well, and how they have managed that resilience, that creative resilience is there. And I do not think that the artistic community will ever lose that. And as BASA, we need to make sure that that creativity remains supported, remains relevant, encouraged, and it continues and develops into something very, very big. If I can look back and think that to some degree, no matter how small, I managed to contribute to that, I would be very happy for the 12 years that I spent as part of the BASA board.
So Mandie, yes, you have contributed. And it is on that note that I've actually asked you to support and help lead BASA during my tenure. To answer your question, so thank you, Mandie. To answer your question, Rorisang, I just want to be remembered for the leader that basically led with heart and mind. And when you actually have that combination, it's pretty powerful. And for me, Rorisang, and to everybody listening, I think the power of love and kindness, most people see it in leadership as a weakness. And through my personal journey, as well as through my business journey, I demonstrate the strength of power of love and kindness and how important it is, because I do believe it is the solution to many of the worldly challenges. And my legacy, I think, is social cohesion and bringing everybody, not just a certain sector of people, but if you look at the board as well, it is representative of our rainbow nation. I pray that into the future, it doesn't actually just embody a certain specific grouping of people. It should always have that diversity, because that's the power of creativity and having different minds on the board and to the table. My legacy largely is music is my thing. And the Rise South Africa song was such a powerful collaboration, I would say, between the AA South Africa, which is the corporates, as well Automobile Association of South Africa, and an NPO that showcased emerging artists. That collaboration that BASA facilitated, Rise South Africa, giving hope, igniting hope, demonstrating the importance for us to work together to move the country forward, is powerful. So BASA actually championed and made that connection.
Zingisa, you obviously are joining the family. You are our current chair. So much to look forward to. I think looking back at the legacy of those 25 years, it feels like it's a great space to be in, charting forward. What would you like that when it's all said and done? Yeah, that was your contribution. Or maybe let me ask you like this: what's on your heart to see change? Like what do you think about and go, whew, if that one thing, or if that one process can take place, or that one opportunity can open, I'll feel like, woohoo.
I don't know. So I'm very intentional about where I give of my time, my effort, and my skill set, I guess, right? Or my experience. And that intention for me is always marked by what I learn as much as I share. I can never have a monopoly on the answer to the problem. And I think for me, it's that collaborative philosophy that underpins BASA that resonates with me, is that alone you can't go very far. That African saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that I may not get to the end of the journey with you, but whatever contribution I may make in paving that portion of road or walking that portion of road with you, let it get us. So if BASA is still, I need to leave an organization better than what I found, for one thing. So I can't destroy that which has been built. I need to add on to it, but it cannot, the opportunity, the problem, the solution is so much bigger than me. I think where I'm really strong is in that collaborative space, is bringing people who are good at what they do to be their best selves, whether it's internally within BASA or the stakeholders outside of that rely on us, whether it is for support, for programs, for data, for funding, for guidance, for skills, capacitation, for whatever. If we can leave you better than it was when you came into our space, then we've done our bit, then I've contributed to something meaningful, because for me, that's what sustainability looks like.
Ladies, thank you so much for having this conversation with me here today. Thank you for your contribution, your individual contribution. We just hope that you'll continue to do the good work that you're doing. And we're grateful that BASA gives you this platform to do that. And we love to see it. Until we meet again, in the next 25 years, hopefully we could do like a young 30, then we come back for a young 35, then we come back for we need to take it in fives for big celebrations. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day and continue to do the good work that you're doing.
Two heads are always better than one. Experience tells us that when partners in a relationship share ideas, knowledge, and skills, the outcome of their combined inputs is always better. Fundamentally, this is because two people who work together can build off of each other's ideas, pool resources, consider other possibilities, and therefore achieve more. As evidence in Onda, a South African-inspired collaboration between dancer and choreographer Hannah Ma and musician and artist Sebastian Purfirst. The work premiered at the 23rd Ajomba Contemporary Dance Experience, recipient of the Chairman's Award at the 24th Annual BASA Awards, partnered by Hollard.
The all-new Cultural Producers Programme officially launches today in partnership with Common Purpose South Africa, Manchester International Festival, and supported by the British Council Creative Economy Programme. The aim of this initiative is to create a network of emerging cultural leaders able to propel the creative sector with renewed vigour beyond current challenges and well beyond the next 25 years. The programme aims to accelerate growth in skills development, capacitating global networks, and drive innovative new work. Bringing together 25 creative and cultural producers already working in South Africa to upskill and unite them as a single network that enables innovative work practice. Our 25 cultural producers are the Debut Program, partnered by the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture and supported by Yoko, is a 3-year-long program that builds entrepreneurial capacity for creatives to plan, launch, market and develop their own small business. From 450 participants, the program culminates in a year-long intensive catalyst phase that incubates the top 25 participants, supporting them to grow their newly launched ventures into profitable enterprises. The Debut Catalyst Top 25 are Koi Koi, first featured at the 2021 BASA Awards, partnered by Hollard, a live looping musical performance art showpiece encompassing multilingual expressions to create their unique Afro-futuristic sound. Let's give it up for musician-composer Jogan Salafin and vocalist and performing artist Annalisa Stierman.
Honored online guests, partners, and friends, all protocol observed. In the Bible, the number 25 symbolizes grace upon grace. It is composed of the number 20, meaning redemption, and the number 5, meaning grace. So 25 is grace multiplied, 5 times 5. In science, 25 is an average percentage DNA overlap of an individual with their half-sibling, grandparent, grandchild, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew. For Business and Arts South Africa, 25 is a milestone, which marks the organization disbursing 42 million rand to over 1,680 projects, which in turn have leveraged over 537 million rand in sponsorship from the business sector. That equates to 13 million rand of corporate support for every 1 million rand of BASA grant funding. 25 marks BASA programs reaching more than 2,000 individuals nationally and recognizing well over 300 business and arts partnerships through the annual BASA Awards. To the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, BASA's members, sponsors, partners and friends, the BASA Board of Directors, past and current, the BASA team, past and current, the artists, presenters and guests featured here today, our omniscient voiceover artist, the always exquisite Rashina Ratnam, and to all of you who joined us by logging on today. Tramakasi, Shukran, Danki, Nkosi, Yabonga, Kialiboha, Merci, Dankeschön. Thank you for joining us as we kick off a year-long celebration and conversation about what BASA could do over the next 25 years, about an interlacing nexus of creativity powered by collaboration between the right partners and celebrating the impact of those nexuses and their potential to improve the lives of every South African.